Yeah, I think that was a cool game. One, because I was there as a recruit, so it's kind of funny to look back on. Um, just being able to experience that as a fan and as a recruit and a commit at the time, being able to experience that feeling that they had from afar. But it's also pretty cool because look back at what they did in order to win that game, learn from that game, and then go forward and apply it.
Were you part of the field rush there? Were you down there when it happened?
I was not. No. The recruits were in the front row, and we were told no because we were going to go to the locker room. Do not rush the field.
When you look at this Penn State offense, they're humming coming into this game. What makes them so dangerous and so efficient?
They can do a lot. You'll see, and I think Coach Fleck said it yesterday. Trying to diagnose the formations, watching the game, but they do so much, and they have such great playmakers. Their tight ends, quarterback, running back, receivers, really across the board. They're able to get the ball to their playmakers in so many different ways and so many dynamic ways that it confuses defenses at times. And so, what's going to be huge for us this week is communication. Not, going saying I'm going to make this play. It's doing your job, and you're going to make the play when the play's available for you.
How would you describe the opportunity as seniors going out to play a top five team like this on Saturday?
Yeah, we're really looking at it as it's the next game, and obviously coming into the bye week, it wasn't what we wanted nor what we were planning to do going into the bye week with Rutgers, and so now it's another game, it's another chance to go 1-0, and it just happens to be a really great opponent that's flying in here and senior night, so it's good to spend that last game in Huntington Bank Stadium with the rest of those seniors and guys exhausting eligibility.
Being senior night, do you feel it gives at least the seniors maybe more focus?
I think it not necessarily more focus. I think it becomes a little bit more real. Realizing that you're going to play your last game in that stadium. But I think that's all out of the system by the time it comes to game time. That switch turns on, and we're all ready to go.
What was the message from Heatherman after that Rutgers game to the defense?
Yeah, we really got into a good a good rhythm there in the second half. We did not play great defense in the first half, and that's what we kind of hit on as a defense coming in after watching film and everyone being able to watch it was there were a few plays that really kickstarted their drives. A few crucial moments where they picked up so odd many yards after we either missed our tackle or we weren't disciplined in our technique. And then you saw when we were disciplined in our technique, that third quarter came around, we were disciplined, we were making the plays that, we were supposed to make. And that's where, kind of turned around. And then the other thing is just, holding them to field goals, holding them to no points, when teams get in their red zone, not letting them score no matter how they get in there.
How important is it going to be to know where Tyler Warren is at all times?
Yeah, he is a great football player. Wherever he is, whether he's snapping the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball, running the ball, it's important to know where he is because a lot of their offense is surrounding him because he's shown the ability to make huge plays with the ball in his hands or getting the ball to somebody else. So it's huge to know where he is because he has the ability to take a play that should be 2 or 3 yards and turn it into 30 or 40.
How do you simulate preparing for him in practice? How does that go? Who does that?
Yeah, yeah. Our scout team has done a tremendous job this week. And the thing I love about those guys is they've gotten better every single week that we've gone into it. Really knowing their role and how to help us win games. Some of those guys might not see the field this year, or this game, this year, next game, whatever it is. Their time is coming, but they've really bought into the role of giving us authentic, great looks of what it's going to look like on Saturday. And so those guys have been great with being able to mimic what they do.
Is there any name or names you can give us with simulating?
I don't I won't give out the names, but all those younger guys on the offensive side of the ball, they've been doing a great job.
What are you going to remember about going up against Aireontae Ersery over the past few years here?
I remember don't remember which coach said it, but my freshman year when he came in, somebody had said, you guys should take advantage because, Tay came in and he was a great football player, and now we've obviously seen what he's morphed into. But he had came in and they said, you guys should take advantage of going against him because he's going to be a first-round draft pick. And he's shown the ability to, get himself to that point. And so, every team rep, every pass rush rep, every one-on-one rep, whatever it is that you have against him, you really got to take advantage of it because that's one of the best looks in the country that you're going to get.
Coach Fleck talked about it just on the offensive side where windows are going to be tighter, they're going to get pressure quicker on the offense. Just now how important is it to play fast, but also the discipline aspect against a team that's so explosive like Penn State?
Yeah, discipline's going to be huge this week. They're going to try to get your eyes in the wrong spot, try to make you not see something. And so being able to go through your keys, who am I lining up off of? Who is my key? Where's my footwork going? But, being able to diagnose before the play because, what we don't want is paralysis by analysis when the play's going. We want to be able to play fast, and all that starts with this week, being able to study the film, knowing what we're getting out of certain looks, knowing who's on the field, all their different personnels. That's all the work that goes in this week so that when it comes to game time, we can play fast, we can play discipline because we know we've seen it before.
Anything else for Dan?
Just for you, long career here in Minnesota, just the winding journey it's been, just what is it going to mean to you, and just have you reflected just on all of your time spent here?
Yeah, I was just saying earlier that I've taken a little bit, the bye week has given me a little bit of a time. You get away and get on the body, catch up on sleep, get some homework done if you still have to do that. But it's also given me some time to reflect on my time here. And, the word that comes to mind is always just grateful. Made me a better man, made me a better football player, and has really prepared me for whatever life has to offer. As I leave the University of Minnesota. But yeah, it's been good to be able to reflect. Now, it's not over yet, so those short windows of reflection, I cut them out and then say we got some more memories to make.
You as a former wrestler, what was your reaction to the news that Gable Stevenson came back?
I think that's great for the University of Minnesota. I think it's not so great for a lot of other colleges out there, especially if you're a heavyweight. But no, I think that's great for the sport. He's obviously one of the best to ever do it. And I think that's going to be huge for, the wrestling team here and the University of Minnesota. It's going to be pretty cool. Might have to go out and watch a match.
All set with Danny? All right.
Thanks, guys.
I know the past couple of days I've been thinking about it a lot. Time flies, man. Just a couple of days ago, it felt like I was, one of the young guys in the room with Coney Dirk, T-Time, and, Phil Howard. But, I really enjoyed my time. I made a lot of great friends here, met a lot of great people here, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I know people ask me, if you go back in time, would you pick a different school? My answer is always no, just because of the experiences I've had here. It's all the people I've met here.
How many family members you got coming up for this one?
I'm still looking for tickets. Right now I got 15, so I don't know if I get 15 tickets or not, but I'm trying.
What impresses you about Penn State's offense when you take a look at it?
Really just the ability to do many things really well. A lot of teams they can do some things well, but Penn State, they've shown they can run the ball well, pass the ball well. They come a lot of tricky formations that you got to be very sound against. And overall, just a really good team, and they're really skilled. So we just got to be detailed all game and just, yeah.
How do you account for their tight end? I mean, Warren.
Well, he's one of the best players in college football. He plays every position there is to play skill-wise, and you just got to always know where he is because he's a threat to beat you no matter if he's at receiver, quarterback, tight end, running back. So
What was Heatherman's message to the defense after that Rutgers game?
just we got to just win the bye week. That was the main goal. You got to flush the win, learn from it, take the lesson from the game, and just put it away. And that's what the whole bye week was about last week, just being 1-0.
How important are takeaways when you play against the top team in the country? Last time they came in here, they had 3 interceptions. Just how important is getting extra possessions for your offense?
Well, that's one of the main things we focus on as a defense, just getting takeaways, getting the ball back. And when you play a team that's ranked top 5 in the country, a team like Penn State that if you don't get any takeaways, it's hard to win a game like that. So takeaways always at the front of our mind.
How much of the coaching staff look back at that Penn State game as an example of what this program can do?
We visited a couple times, but we were focused on this year. A whole new team. We're playing a whole different Penn State team, and we just focused on being 1-0 this week.
Anything else for Justin?
Thank you.
Senior Bowl invite this week. What's it mean to get that invitation, and why did you elect to accept it?
Carry the pipeline, guys like John Michael, Daniel Falele, guys who were once here and got the chance to compete at the Reese Bowl and was able to boost their draft stock. So that's what I'm looking forward to, just going out there and compete at the highest level.
What do you want to prove down there?
That I'm the best. And I want to go out there and compete against the best.
What's going to be your best memory here from your time in Minnesota?
My best memory, of course, some of the big wins we had. Probably my best memory probably have to be when I played as a true freshman, going out there and not really knowing what to expect. But, I had full faith, and my coaches had full faith in me. And that's what really gave me the confidence to go out there and play with those older guys too. They believed in me as well. So, yeah, that was probably my favorite memory.
Where do you feel you've developed most as a tackle?
Like, as far as my game?
Yeah.
Just overall, I could name a bunch of things. O-line it's a development position. There's always things that you can get better at, even in the pros, So for me, I probably had to say just run, pass game. It's always things you work on, and just continue to attack every day like a pro.
How much pride do you take in the fact that you never leave the field, you've got 36?
Say that one more time. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. How much pride do you take in the fact that you've got 36 straight starts and are always on the field?
Yeah, I take pride in that because your best ability is being your availability. So I think it's good to be durable. As Coach Fleck probably mentioned, being durable, being able to go out there even when you probably hurt and still be able to play through injuries. So yeah.
When you look at Penn State's defensive line, they're one of the best you'll face all year. Number 11 was a projected top 15 overall pick. When you look at going against some of the best talent in the country, does that motivate you, or how do you kind of view going into the game this weekend?
My approach each week never changes, no matter who the opponent is. But I can't say, Penn State is a great team. They got athletes everywhere. I really think they do a good job defensively, getting guys out of spots, making guys, over-communicate, miss blocks and stuff like that. So we just got to over-communicate, and then we'll be just fine.
What have you seen in Phil Daniels' development? I know he's got a couple starts in recent games. What have you seen in his progression?
Yeah, Philip Daniels is a sponge, man. Whatever game you give him, he's going to soak up and go out there and apply it to the field. And he asks us a bunch of questions. And to be that young and, to be that curious, I think it'll go a long way in his career because, you never want to feel like you arrive, and I don't feel that in him at all.
In your recruitment, what pushed you to come to Minnesota? What was the deciding factor there?
Coach Fleck, man. Coach Cal, some coaches that's probably not here no more, but they were really the deciding factor. Just kept it real from the jump about how they really felt about me, why they want me to come here, and what they could do with me. And I'm all about development. And that was really what pushed me to come here. And also the Minnesota State as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful people, and a lot of connections that I made. So, yeah.
What was the message from Callahan to the offensive line after that Rutgers game?
Keep the main thing. Just keep working. Never feeling like you arrived. Show up, practice hard, and everything will be okay. You just, we can't control win or loss. We can control how we respond from it. So definitely took some notes from that, went back to the lab, and got better.
Anything else for Aireontae? All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Rotable Scott, you might go.
Didn't know too much about it, but what have you learned about that?
Yeah, that was. I think that was one of the first games I watched to start preparation for Penn State. Was just to, It was very similar Penn State teams, right? I think they're pretty highly ranked that year, and same with this year. And I was wondering, how Minnesota, beat them in 19, and what kind of things worked well for them. But more take away, like with the team, how did they execute the small details well to finish and win that game? And so I think we took away some good stuff from that game, and we used it to the best of our advantage.
Max, what will be the keys for you and the rest of the offense going against the kind of defense that Penn State has got?
Yeah.
All the talent they have and mixing things up and all of that.
Yeah, to get down to the small details about it, it's executing the small details really well. It's staying on schedule is the biggest piece. Staying on schedule on first and second down, and getting a third manageable. They do a really good job on 3rd and 7+. Their defense is they execute their defense really well when it gets to 3rd and long. But for us to keep our offense on schedule and make sure that we're executing the small details well on 1st and 2nd down to get to a third manageable spot is a really big key for our offense this week.
What do you think's been effective for you, and as to why you've been able to be effective quite a bit under pressure? You've been able to escape and make some plays. What goes into that?
I would say the first thing is always being on the same page and being aligned with the team, with the offense in that specific play, knowing where the pressure's coming from, knowing where the O-line, if we get a twist game to a certain side, knowing how the O-line is going to block it, knowing where the receivers are going to be, if the pocket collapses and we have to execute a scramble drill, but also knowing where they're going to be on rhythm is a big piece too. If you have to get off your spot and get flushed, knowing where they're going to be after you get flushed out of the pocket is a really big piece as well. And that comes from practice and execution during games, seeing how we play well together during those situations during a game, and how they can flow to the next scramble drill we have.
What does having a left tackle like Aireontae meant to you?
It's been huge. I think that it's really cool playing behind someone who's as highly touted as him, but also just the person he is. It's been a lot of fun working with him this year. His work ethic is off the charts, and it's fun to play behind someone that really, really cares about the team, number one, but also football. He's got an amazing passion for football, and so playing with him, being in the huddle with him has been a lot of fun. We've had our fun times this year in the huddle, and it's been a lot of fun outside the field too. For dinners on Thursday nights and getting in the film room. It's been a lot of fun. So playing behind him is out of this world. It's relieving sometimes knowing that you have Aireontae on the left side and he'll do everything in his power to keep you safe.
Lighter moments in the huddle.
I would say we have sometimes I project my voice to the right side of the huddle and he gets he needs to make sure he needs to hear it better on his side, so he'll give me a couple nudges to let me know, and it's all pretty friendly, and we enjoy the huddle, and our communication, like I said, I've talked about our communication as an offensive unit a ton, and learning how we communicate together has been a fun task this year.
A nudge from a 330-pounder might be a little bit.
It's more of a push, but his elbow is more than just a little nudge, yeah, for sure.
Did it start to hit you during the bye week that senior day coming up this weekend, that college football is coming to an end here?
I think there's a balance between realizing where you're at in your career, but also making sure you focus on what's now. And if you too much of like, this is my last few games here as a Gopher, my last home game as a Gopher with this team, and you're doing too much, probably focusing too much on the future. Whereas opposed, we have this amazing opportunity this week to play a really good Penn State team, and that's what else could you ask for? This is for our last home game to play a big time opponent, and this stadium has been pretty cool. So there's a good balance, but I think there a lot of the guys in the same boat where we're almost done with college football, but if you start getting too far ahead of yourself, you lose track of the moment.
You came here just a little less than a year ago. You packed a lot into that year.
Mm-hmm.
Has it flown by though?
It's definitely flown by. I would say there's times when you look during the week on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, you're like, oh man, like this is the longest week ever, and it's the beginning of the week. But you get to the end of the week and you get to the end of the month, and you get through a few months of spring ball and summer, and you realize how fast it's gone. And once the season hits, it's always really a speedy time. You start in August in camp, and then you get to where we are now. It always flies by no matter where you are. But it's more about the time that you spend preparing for the season that really flies by. And I think the piece where you have the long days, you have the long weeks, it feels really long in the moment. But you get to the piece where you're starting camp and you're like, dang, where'd the time go?
Do you feel like the bye has helped you physically and mentally, just getting the break?
Yeah, Yeah, I do. I think the bye weeks are huge for any team really throughout the season, and to have 2 bye weeks this year has been a blessing for this team. It's playing Big Ten football is no joke, and I think anybody can see that where, your body's getting worn down week in and week out. I think our strength staff and our athletic training staff and nutrition staff do an amazing job of helping us recover in the best and fastest way possible. And that bye week is huge for that. Getting in the weight room, getting in the treatment room, spending as much time on your body as you can, and also just decompressing for a second too. I think if
Darius moving?
he's moving great. He is a healthy Darius, and I'm excited to see him run this Saturday.
Coach, like I mentioned during his press comments, the windows get smaller. They have a really good defensive lines of pressure get there.
Mhm.
How important is getting those correct protections and your processing of moving across your look?
Yeah, it always starts up front, right? You have to make sure that the O-line's in the right protection. Changing that around to best suit where we're going to be in the pocket, what pressure they're bringing, but also knowing what pressure they're bringing and the coverage behind that in the back end. So doing your best to study of how you can best protect yourself, get the guys in the best spot possible, and also realize what they're typically going to play on the back end percentage-wise is really big. And then after that, you just play football. I think there's some times in every single game that you get caught where you should have been in a different spot, like different protection or a different play for a specific coverage, and you don't get that look. It's about playing football. There's going to be times when you don't get that, and guys kind of just have to get to the right spot, and the timing is everything.
Penn State's got one of the best run defenses in college football, and your run game has been pretty inconsistent here in the last month. So how do you run the ball enough to be able to set up the pass on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's number one of setting the tone up front. I think Quinn and Aireontae and Coop have done an amazing job this week of mentally getting there. I think it's it's as much of a physical battle as a mental battle as well. Knowing where your combos are going, knowing where if we get this certain pressure, how our blocks are going to change, and scheme is everything. I think once you get the mental piece down, you get to the schematics of it, and then these guys are Big Ten alignment for a reason. They know how to run block, they know how to pass block, and they're really good at it. And so getting back down to the basics, executing the small details really well is what will allow us to run the ball effectively, and adjusting to the looks that you get throughout the game, because both sides have game plans. So adjusting to the looks once you get to first and second down of what they're bringing, twist game wise, pressure wise, and hitting on the run.
Max, can you give the fans a little insight into what's behind you in that quarterback room?
Yeah, we got an amazing quarterback room. Right now we have Drake, Lindsey, we have Dylan Whitkey, Max Jansky, and Jeremiah Finale right now, and I couldn't have walked into a better quarterback room. I've had so much fun with this group all year, and the work ethic that has been started with Coach Harbaugh, what he does as a coordinator, as a quarterback coach, it's been instilled in all of us, and it's been fun to watch these guys work. They battle their butts off every single day, and they compete their butts off, and it's really fun to watch them do that. To be in a spot where I can kind of look down from the older side of it and know that I kind of was in a similar spot growing up, where I'm fighting for a spot, and these guys compete like no other quarterbacks that I've seen compete, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future.
You talked about how Coach Harbaugh always kind of designing new concepts, different things. Now he's had 2 weeks. Now he doesn't usually have that. Has he come to you with any new things?
There's always new stuff for game plans. I think something that he does really well is he spends. I've never seen someone spend so much time on a game plan in my life, and that's not a positive or negative thing. It's about how much he cares to be in the right call every single time, and that's an amazing help for me as a quarterback, knowing that he cares so much about getting us in the right call every single time, and giving me the details of when we should be in these calls, and when we can change the play around and change the protection around, and he simplifies things a lot to where it makes it easy on me and the receivers and the running backs and the tight ends and the O-line, and that's why I think we've been in really good spots this year. We've been executing plays well, and it's just time to get back to put it together again and get back to the nitty gritty and the small details.
Time for a couple more. Anything, John? All right.
Awesome, thank you.